And welcome along to another episode of Behind the Mic with me, Thomas. Right before we get underway, it's time to run the
radio.
jingle.
I mean, where do you even start? Huge names in the radio industry.
The jingles absolutely make up a radio show. Production team do so much more than the presenter. You gotta remember the researchers. It all started with the Pirates. The best of all time, it's gotta be Tony Blackburn. Go on then, put that slider up. We're on air. Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Behind the Mic with me, Thomas Evans. Can you believe it? We're halfway through the series. Which means after today's episode, we have only got 5 episodes left. I know that sounds really obvious now that I've said that out loud. But for anyone who didn't know what halfway means, it does mean we are halfway, which means after today, we'll have done 5, and we'll still have 5 to go. So we've still got 5 more weeks together, which will take us to the beginning of September, and just before Radio to in the Park, and I will bring you a lowdown on that in a special episode. Oh, more on that at the end of the series. Coming up in today's episode, we are looking at the problems faced by the pirates at sea on the pirate stations. We're looking at the much loved former Radio 1 presenter and current Radio 6 music presenter Nick Grimshaw, and how he became the presenter that we know today. We've also got, to round up the episode, we have got music and radio, my favourite bit. Then we'll look at number ones from this week in any year, as long as they made it to number 1 and were number 1 this day in any year. And of course, we have got the radio headlines. But first, I want to let you know that for today's episode, it's the first episode it's the first episode that we are officially putting out on YouTube. However, the rest of the episodes are going to also go up today. This is Friday. They are also out if you want to watch on YouTube. You can follow us on our Instagram at Radio DJ Thomas and on TikTok at Behind the Mic for bits and snippets of what we get up to, and on YouTube now. Or you can just listen on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, what else podcasts? Did I say Apple Podcasts? I did say Apple Podcasts. But you can listen and you can watch on Spotify. That's the only streaming platform you can watch on, apart from YouTube. Right then, that is just a little promotion. And we are in the studio. We have got the speakers plant. This plant's doing really well. This plant is starting to die. And we have got new for this episode. We've got an on-air light. Yes. Just adds to the effect of a nice studio. And in front of me is soundbox, laptop, camera, and light to make me look a little bit better. So, shall we get underway with the very latest radio headlines? Matt Foster is to launch Barnsley Radio new breakfast show. For the former Darren FM and Trax FM breakfast presenter, Max Foister is returning to Barnsley as the launch presenter for the new Barnsley Radio breakfast show. Emma Barnett has been confirmed as the chair of the judges for British Podcasting Awards for 2025. Speaking about the role, Emma said, "I'm delighted to champion the brilliant, bold medium as the chair of the judges for the British Podcasting Awards for 2025, and to celebrate the voices shaping the great British podcasting scenes." The actor Stefan Purden has joined the Go Radio Breakfast Show. The Scottish actor has joined the breakfast show on the 28th of July. The actor is best known for his role as Bob O'Hara in the BBC soap River City. He will co-host the show alongside Zoe Kelly. And on Saturday the 26th of July, Keith Lee celebrated his 60 years volunteering for York Radio Hospital Radio. that's all the news for this week. You can keep up to date and listening to Behind the Mic every single week as we bring you the latest radio headlines. Obviously, if you want to catch up on past radio headlines, you can. You can listen to episode 1 and episode 3. Episode 1, 3 and 4. No. 1, 4 and 5. Because so far we've only got 3 with news in, because if you listen to episode 1, you'll know exactly why we've only got news in. So I'm not going to ruin that if you've not yet listened. Right then, let's get underway and move. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm struggling today. And if you want to keep up to date daily with the radio headlines, you can. You just head to radiotoday.co.uk. Let's get underway now with the main bulk of today's episode. Right, today we dive into a side of pirate radio which is not often heard about. The struggles, because behind the rebellious spirits, behind the music and behind the energy, pirate radio was full of a constant battle. Now, there were a number of problems which were faced, and we are going to go into the 5 main problems which the presenters and the ships faced. Problem number 1. The danger of life at sea. First off, the environment itself was brutal. Most pirate stations operated from a rusty ship or abandoned sea forts, anchored miles off the British coast. The living conditions were rough, cold and dangerous. Storms would batter the ships, equipment could be smashed high waves, and supplies like food and fresh water sometimes ran dangerously low. Now here's a real story. Radio Caroline once had a ship that drifted during a storm, breaking its anchor. The DJs had to hang on for dear life whilst trying to keep the music playing. And when Tony Blackburn and the late Johnny Walker did a show on Radio 2 about the Clash of the Pirates, Tony Blackburn told the story, and it's quite amusing. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the clip. But after the shipwreck, They were on shore, and the police found them. They took them down to the station, and they told the presenters that they were doing a fabulous job at keeping the energy alive. So the officers of the law were keen for the pirate radio presenters to get back out to sea. They let them go, and within a few days they were back out broadcasting on Radio Caroline. There you go, that is a true story. And if you want to know more, you listen to Tony Blackburn on Clash of the Pirates on BBC Radio 2. Problem number 2, constant technical failures. There were technical nightmares. Salt water and electronics didn't mix well. Transmitters could fail, generators would break down, and salt air would corrode cables and gear. Imagine being live on air and then bam! Transmitter blows mid-song or even mid-voice, mid-sentence. You leave the listener hanging. Engineers often had to do emergency repairs with limited parts and tools, sometimes even while the ship rocked violently. Problem number 3. Of course, being illegal, it had its risks. While pirates were outside British territorial waters, they were always under surveillances. Supplies had to be smuggled in. Crews faced the risk of arrest if they came ashore, and they were constant fear of a boarding pirate sent to shut them down. In fact, in 1966, Radio City, based off the sea fort, was attacked by rival pirate operators. Pirate radio could be a dangerous business, but not just rebellious fun. Problem number 4, financial struggles. Money was another massive problem. Pirates depended on advertisement, but many brands were too scared to advertise illegally. Even big successful stations like Radio London struggled to pay its bills, and often DJs weren't paid properly or at all. Supplies like petrol, records, and even food had to be brought and shipped out, and it wasn't cheap. Stations sometimes had to shut down temporarily because they literally ran out of money to fuel the generators. And problem number 5. Finally, the human cost. Pirate DJs often lived isolated from family and friends for weeks at a time. Life on the ships could be lonely, cramped, and a little bit boring when off air. There were no proper medical facilities. If someone got sick, they just had to tough it out. And imagine stuck on a ship in the freezing North Sea, weeks at a time. You, some vinyl records, and a broken heater. I don't know whether they had broken heaters, but it adds to the effect that there were struggles out at sea. And well, after a few days of tin beans, seasickness, and no showers, there wasn't that much to enjoy. The best bit of the presenter's day would have been going on air and reading out the listener letters, which had been shipped into the sea. And yet, despite all of this, the pirates kept broadcasting. Why? Because they loved it. Because they believed that the music should be free, that young people deserved radio that spoke to them. It wasn't money, fame, or fame. It just kept the ships the air. It was the pure passion. The story of pirate radio isn't just rebellion. It's a story of survival, determination, and fighting the chance to change the sound of the nation. Even when everything was stacked against you, they kept going. They defied the odds of living out at sea illegally to broadcast for the million of listeners listening at home. Now, next time we'll explore the music that was chosen to be played out and what the limits were and what the presenters had. But now so there were limits, even though they were able to broadcast whatever they wanted. But now, in a second, we're going to look at the well-known former Radio 1 presenter and now the current Radio 6 Music Breakfast Show presenter, Nick Grimshaw. So don't go anywhere. Now today, as part of the three presenters we're looking at this series, because there's not been enough decades to make a full series, we're diving deep into the story of Britain's most distinctive and influenced radio voices, Nick Grimshaw, from his early days in student radio to fronting the iconic BBC Radio 1 breakfast show, and now back behind the mic, I'm turning my headphones down, and now back behind the mic on BBC Radio 6 Music. And he is shaping the sound of 6 Music Mornings. Grimmy's journey is full of laughs, surprises, and a lot of hearts. Let's start at the very beginning. Nick Grimshaw was born on the 14th of August 1984 in Oldham, Greater Manchester. Growing up in a working-class family, he was raised alongside his sister in a home that which wasn't necessarily filled with glamour or celebrities, but it was filled with warmth. He attended the Blue Coast School, a grammar school in Oldham, and was a bright student with a flair of concentration. From the early age, Grimshaw had a passion for music and presenting. His cheeky, outgoing personality shone through. After school, he moved to the University of Liverpool, studying the communications and the media studies. However, he dropped out after his first year. Rather than seeing this as a setback, Grimshaw has spoken openly about his decision, pushing him to focus onto his real passion, broadcasting. Before becoming a radio household name, Grimshaw cut his teeth on television form. From 2007 till 2010, he presented on Channels 4, T4, a youth-orientated show broadcasting on weekend mornings, alongside the notable co-hosts like Alexa Chung and... Hang on, is the smart speaker going to speak now? No, that's all right then. Alexa Chung and Jameen Jamal. Grimshaw developed a signature style, sharp, quick, quirky, and full of energy. This TV exposure brought him to the attention, but it was his work on radio that would truly launch his career. In 2007, he began working at BBC Radio 1, initially as a co-presenter on the weekend show Switch with Annie Mac. The show focused on electronic and dance music, genres that Grimshaw loved deeply. His dynamic presentation style and his ability to connect with the young audience quickly set him apart from other presenters. By 2010, Grimshaw was hosting his very own early evening weekday show on BBC Radio 1, which gave him a bigger platform to showcase his music and tastes, as a sense of humour. His shows were electric, mixing mainstream pop with underground electric tracks. During this time, Grimshaw became known for championing emerging artists. He was one of the first to play the now big name Florence and the Machines and Ed Sheeran on the radio. His honest and often self-depreciating style made listeners feel like they were tuning in to a show by a friend rather than a traditional broadcaster.
BBC Radio 1. Hey, we are the one.
In 2012, after Chris Smile ended his 8-year reign on BBC Radio 1 Breakfast, the BBC needed a fresh energy to attract a younger audience. Nick Grimshaw, then 27, was given the role. An unexpected choice, but perfect in many ways. His style was a major shift, less loud banter and more focus on the music pop culture, with a genuine connection with younger listeners. His style was a major shift. No, I've just read that. His first year was challenging. Audience numbers dipped initially, and some criticised, doubting his ability to fill Moyles' shoes. But Grimshaw persevered, staying true to himself. And by 2013, his show had reached nearly 6 million weekly listeners. His blend of celebrity interviews, music premieres, and quirky features had found its groove. Nick Grimshaw's breakfast show wasn't just about playing the songs. It was full of unique segments and unforgettable moments, such as Call or Delete, a prank call game involving celebrities. Harry Styles was a regular participant, with a charm and quick wit making him a fan favourite. Happy Hardcore FM, a hilarious mini-rave segment at 7am, where Nick Grimshaw would blast fast-paced dance music, shouting, "You locked into the Happy Hardcore FM." And the Nick's Tape, a late night mix segment where Nick Grimshaw showcased lesser-known tracks and a chill vibe, showing his depth in the music culture. During this period, Nick Grimshaw interviewed a wide range of artists, including Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, Adele, and often he used his witty personal approach to get a hilarious response. Outside of the radio, Nick Grimshaw's profile grew through a TV appearance. As a judge on the X Factor UK 2015 to 2016, Grimshaw brought a sharp, critiqued mix with humour and empathy, mentoring acts with genuine care in the TV world. On Gogglebox, Grimshaw has appeared alongside his niece, Liv, whose playful interaction with Grimmy became a hit. Their on-screen banter and relative warmth related to the side of the radio star. He was a popular guest on comedian panel shows like 8 out of 10 Cats and Buzzlocks, blending music, knowledge, and quick wit. These appearances broadened his appeal beyond radio, making him a well-known personality in the British pop culture. In 2012, the same year he took over the Radio 1 breakfast show, Nick Grimshaw publicly came out as gay. This was a significant moment, as he became one of the few openly gay broadcasters on UK mainstream radio at the time. His openness made him an important role model for the community of youth, helping him normalise diverse identities on national platform. In 2018, after 6 years, Nick Grimshaw stepped down from BBC Radio 1 as the breakfast show presenter, handing over to Greg James. While it was a bittersweet departure, Nick Grimshaw was ready to explore a new creative adventure.
But I just want to thank all the listeners, really. I just want to thank you. You know, this is why we're all here. This is, you know, why we want to do it is for you guys. And you make it so much better. You make our shows better. You contribute every day, and you provide us with sort of endless hilarity and stories of your life. And also, I really appreciate this endless, ruthless opinion as well, which we love to hear. And you're all mad for it as well, as we were saying before. Like, you're so up for it, and I will always appreciate that. You know, it really was my childhood dream to work here, and you made that dream come true. Like, you really, really did. And I just want to say something. I really hope it doesn't come across as patronising, because I really don't. I don't mean it to do, but it was my childhood dream, and I nearly talked myself out of it. And I nearly was like, I can't do that. And I thought that wanting to work here was like, I remember saying like, it's like going to go and be an astronaut. I want to go and be a footballer. And I remember my family being like, people are astronauts, people are footballers. So it's a really bit of simple advice. And I just wanted to pass it on and just say that, you know, if you do have a dream, you know, don't talk yourself out of it. You know, don't be scared of it. Don't think you don't deserve it. You know, because if I can do it, you can do it. You know, you can do anything you want. So if you do have a dream, I think it's important that you go for it. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of making my dream come true. I'm honestly, truly thankful. So thank you. Enjoy this. I'll see you around.
He launched after his departure from Radio 1. He launched several podcasts, including Dish, with Michelin star chef Angela Hardnett, a show mixing food talk, celebrity interviews and light-hearted banter. Another podcast, Sidetracked, on BBC Sounds, reunited him with his longtime friend Annie Mac, offering a more relaxed conversational listen about life and different genres of music, our new music, old music, different styles of music, any music, they discuss it on Sidetracked. If that's a podcast you're interested in, listen on BBC Sounds. And then he returned to
6. This is BBC Radio 6 Music. This is BBC Radio 6 Music. BBC Radio 6 Music.
In January 2025, it marked Nick Grimshaw's return to BBC Radio, this time as the breakfast show host on BBC Radio 6 Music, taken over from Lauren Laverne. This new role suited Nick Grimshaw's evolved style perfectly. Radio 6 Music's more laid-back electric sound and allowed him to delve into a wider range of music, from alternative and indie to classical and electronic, without thoughtful conversation and a relaxed vibe. Listeners had praised the fresh energy that Nick Grimshaw had brought with him, blending his signature humour with a deeper music exploration.
BBC Radio 6 Music. Listen live on your smart speaker. Just say, play 6 Music. Right now, it's Nick Grimshaw.
Good morning and welcome along to a brand new show here on 6 Music. How you doing? Kicking off with some New Order and then this, the latest from Fontaine's. It is Nick Grimshaw here with you on the radio right through to 10 o'clock this morning, and here with one job only: to start your day with the best music from the best, most exciting, interesting artists in the world.
Nick Grimshaw's influence on British radio and pop culture can't be overstated. He helped modernise the breakfast radio for new generations, balancing music, chat and humour in fresh ways. As one of the first openly gay presenters on major UK radio breakfast show, he paved the way for greater diversity and inclusion. As one of the first, his cadency discussions about mental health helped issues and problems that other people may have faced. Supporting others, Grimshaw helped emerging artists and impacting the music scenes by giving them airtime to the super future. He inspired a generation of broadcasters with his authenticity and creative risks. So that's the story of Nick Grimshaw. A broadcaster unafraid to be himself, constantly evolving and connecting with millions through the power of music and honest conversation. So that is Nick Grimshaw, and we have got one more presenter to come and cover in episode 8 of Behind the Mic, and I'm going to keep that name under my hat until we get to that. But who might it be? What presenter have we not discussed yet? You'll have to wait until episode 8. That's what, 3 weeks away? Coming up in just a second to end this week's podcast, as we're already 25 minutes in. I don't know how this happens. The time absolutely flies. We have got music in radio. That's weird. I just pressed play on that segue, right? And I have lost the light in the studio. It's gone. Hang on, bear with us. Bear with. Hang on, we're just going to go and fix this. Move out the way. Get out of the seat. I'm just going over to the lights. And we're back. Panic over the lights are still working. They've had enough after 25 minutes. Can't do any more. Right, should we crack on? I think we should. Right then, as always, we have got something which is where huge songs are constantly played on radio when they were first released, and some which is still massive as of today. And this year we are starting we're starting with this, which could not be escaped no matter what station we were listening to. We're starting with I Feel Love. Oh, that was a sudden abrupt ending. I didn't fade that out. I do apologise. Released in early July 1977, I Feel Love was redefined disco with its pioneer electric production by G-Jaw Morden and Pete Bellette. It soared to number 1 on the UK single charts on the 19th of July 1977, where it stayed for 4 weeks, spending 11 weeks at the charts overall. Dubbed as the sound song Future, the song's rhythmic synth pulse electrically influenced emerging electron genres like house and techno, and an inspiration for artists from David Bowie to Cashews. In 1977, the chart dominated guaranteed heavy rotation across BBC Radio 1, Radio Luxembourg, and commercial stations. Today, I Feel Love continues to feature on nostalgic-driven playlists across Radio 2, noticeably in anniversary specials, particularly in 70s-themed programming. The song also will be played on Gold Radio, Hard 70s, and a number of other stations, including Greatest Hits. It's also played on Absolute Radio and club-orientated shows. So, should we jump forward now to the following decade? No, sorry, hang on. It remains as one of Donna Summer's most streamed tracks on UK radio globally, with its futuristic vibes and lighting up dance floors. Now we're jumping forward 8 years to 1985.
Tonight you're gonna dance with someone else. Get into the groove, boy, you got to prove your love to me. Get up on your feet, yeah, step to the beat. Boy, what will it be? Wanna get to know you in a special way. This doesn't happen.
Arguably the best Madonna song. Just saying. Released on the 15th of July in 1985, Into the Groove debuted at number 4 on the official UK single charts on the 27th of July 1985, making it the highest ever debut for a female artist at the time. It surged to number 1 on the 3rd of August and held the position for 4 weeks, remaining on the charts for 14 weeks overall. This track became Madonna's first UK number 1, and can I just point out, she performed in July. So before this song came to number 1, Into the Groove was performed at Live Aid 40 years ago, and at the time she was not a big artist until this song made it to number 1. After performing at Live Aid, she was huge and everyone wanted her single. The track became Madonna's first UK number 1 single, and during its reign, her earliest hit, Holiday, sat at number 2, making it the first female artist to occupy the top 2 spots, simultaneously certified by gold on the BPI. It's Madonna's best-selling UK single track, shifting around 957,000 copies, I reckon, by around about 2018. No, I didn't know that. Upon release, heavy rotations span BBC Radio 1, BBC Radio Luxembourg, and commercial stations such as Global stations, yeah. And it is still in play today. Into the Groove endures nostalgia-driven playlists across BBC Radio 2, Absolute Radio 80s and 90s, and Fun Club style segments, with its playlist around about 40,000 UK streams a week. That is huge. Its iconic synth-pop groove is not only defined by Madonna's sound, but also cemented her place in British pop culture. Now it's time to travel back to the final year of the 20th century.
The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in your eyes saying you'll never leave me. The touch of your hand says you'll catch me wherever I fall. You say it best
when you say nothing at all. Again, we ran out of audio there because of time limits. Released in July of 1999 for the Notting Hill soundtrack, this cover became Ronan Keating's first solo UK number 1 single. It entered the charts at number 1 on the 1st of August 1999, remaining there for 2 consecutive weeks and spent a total of 21 weeks in the top 100 overall. Upon its release, the song received heavy airplay rotation across mainstream UK stations. Supplied by its film tie-in chart success. Even today, it continues to feature on nostalgic and soft pop stations. For example, Bolton FM's late 2024 playlist shows it was in regular rotation there. Ordinarily written by Paul Overstreet and Don Stritzler, first recorded by Keith Whiteley in 1988, originally written and later popularised by Alison Keras in 1995. Ronan Keating's version is the only version to reach number 1 on the UK single charts. It sold around 680,000 copies in the UK and featured in Notting Hill, and helped launch Ronan's solo career after departing from Boyzone. And Ronan Keating will be performing live at BBC Radio 2 in the Park in Chelmsford in Essex on the Saturday the 6th of September, the day I'm going to be there. Let's go forward now to 2013, and it's a dance tune of the summer.
all this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over. When I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost.
And the lights have gone again. Oh dear. Released in late June of 2013, Wake Me Up debuted at number 1 on the UK singles official charts on the 27th of July 2013, with approximately 267,000 copies sold in the first week, making it the fastest selling single of that year. It held the top spot for 3 consecutive weeks. It spent 11 weeks in the top 10 and remained on the charts for a total of 61 weeks. Later selling over 1 million copies, it becoming the UK's 140th million selling song. It ranked the UK's most streamed track in 2013, topping the official streaming charts for the last 6 weeks. Globally, it surpassed 1 billion Spotify streams and a major milestone for EDM pop crossover. On the UK radio, it dominated mainstream playlists upon its release, earning heavy rotation on Radio 1, Capital FM and major stations. Today it continues to feature on BBC Radio 2, Absolute Radio, dance focus shows, Hard, Capital, Radio 1, Summer Dance Hits something or other, Radio 1 Anthems, Radio 1 Dance, Hard Dance. To be honest, there's not many stations. Hits Radio, there's not many stations it wouldn't be played on. It wouldn't be played on Gold, it wouldn't be played on Greatest Hits. They're the only two which I can really think of. But you get the idea. It was a much-loved song, and it still is today. It's widely credited with bringing EDM into the pop mainstream. The track remains a staple at festivals, clubs, and nostalgia-driven radio shows. Even years after his tragic passing, Avicii's music includes this hit, continuing to surge in streams and airplay, aired by renewed interest, formed in documentaries and tributes, Going forward now to 2020. That's 5 years ago now, I'm afraid.
Oh my God, these feelings just begun. I'm saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done. Oh my God, when I see you I should it right. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. Feeling feelings I feel about us. Try to fight it, but it's never enough.
Released in early July 2020, this upbeat dance track became a massive UK hit, debuting at number 1 on the 16th of July. Corey and MNEK's first UK chart topper, impressively staying at the top spot for 6 straight weeks, making it the UK's biggest selling single released of 2020. The song spent a remarkable 71 weeks on the official UK single charts. It even smashed the UK dance singles charts, spending 28 weeks in the top spot at number 1, and ended the year as one of the top tracks for the decade, ranked at number 57. And its release dominated UK airwave plays and topped Australian chart airplays, including 6 weeks at number 1 on the TMN Hot 100, that's the Australian charts. As part of this, as of spring 2025, across Europe, including the UK, remixes like Jack Black and Joel Corey have received between 100 to 1,000 plays per month. Today you can catch the original and remixes on UK stations such as Radio 1, Capital Dance, and on shows that particularly like UK dance hits on radio. And I can't believe that was released 5 years ago, and 2020 was 5 years ago. It's a long time ago. Well, there you go. We have come to the end. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Behind the Mic, and we are now officially halfway through the Series 3. Can you believe it? Don't worry though, we've still got another 5 episodes together. Join me again next Friday as soon as you wake up, because remember, these episodes come out at midnight on Friday. So you can listen whenever you want to on Friday, or whenever you get a chance. Take us on the go. Download it on Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever you get podcasts from, you can download it. And don't forget, you can watch now. If you've listened and you're like, oh, I want to watch this, you go ahead. YouTube. Just YouTube us. Behind the Mic. Thank you very much. We'll be back behind the mic next week. Until then, goodbye.